Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Racha Kodesh. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. And today we're going to go into the book of Genesis, the 12th chapter. And as we went through in the 11th chapter, right, the genealogy leading up onto Abraham, right, which now they moved, right, Abraham, his father, and his brother, and his nephew and his wife to Haran, where Terah dies. Now the Lord Yahweh had said unto Abram, Get thee out of thy country, and from thy kindred, and from thy father's house, unto a land that I will shew thee. And that's also in Acts 7, which I believe this is when Stephen was recounting this. And we can actually read that real quick because he gives a different wording of it. And he said, Men and brethren, this is, I believe this is, Stephen speaking. Men, brethren, and fathers, hearken. The God of glory appeared unto our father Abraham when he was in Mesopotamia, before he dwelt in Haran. So before they left, the Lord had appeared unto Abraham. There's some more details. And he said unto him, Get thee out of thy country and from thy kindred, and come into the land which I will shew thee. Then came he out of the land of the Chaldeans, and dwelt in Haran. It says Charan here, but it's the same place. And from thence, when his father was dead, he removed him into this land, wherein ye now dwell. And he gave him none inheritance in it, no, not so much as to set his foot on, yet he promised that he would give it to him for a possession, and to his seed after him, when as yet he had no child. Because remember, we'll read that over here, but remember, Sarah or Sarai was barren. So the Lord tells Abram, right, get thee out of thy country and out of thy kindred and out of thy father's house. So even though Genesis 12 is after 11, and in 11 we saw that they went from Ur to Haran, this message that Abram got was while he was in Ur. That's his country. That's why the Lord said, get out of there. And also his family were idol worshiping. And I will make thee a great nation. I believe that's in the book of Joshua. And I will make thee a great nation, and I will bless thee, and make thy name great, and thou shalt be a blessing. Meaning, of you will come blessings. So the Lord is going to turn him into a great nation. Here it is, a man who's childless, his wife is barren, and the Lord is basically making him this promise. And I will bless them that bless thee, and curse him that curseth thee. So all those that are good with you and bless you, they will be blessed. Anybody that makes themselves an enemy of you or curses you, they will be cursed. And in thee shall all the families of the earth be blessed. And this is dealing first and foremost with the families of Israel, okay, of the tribes of Israel. Because when you go into the blessing that Abraham received, it passed on from Abraham to Isaac to Jacob, right? Let me see, where is it at? Yeah. He gave none inheritance, but it says here he promised that he would give it to him for a possession, which is going into that land as well, and to his seed after him, when as yet he had no child. So when you deal here, it says all the families of the earth, but the blessings, all the actual nations of the earth are not going to receive the same blessings, right? Because if that was the case, then there would be no difference between the blessings Israel is going to receive versus everybody else. In fact, a part of Israel's blessings is to be above the other nations. So it wouldn't make sense that in Abraham, all the all the actual families or nations on the planet Earth would be blessed. Those that are blessed are from Abraham through Isaac to Jacob, of who come the 12 tribes. Okay, now ultimately in the kingdom, they will be blessed to a degree because they will be blessed to dwell in a dominion that is reigned or ruled over by righteous rulers, which are Israel, and the earth is going to be in a good state again. But the actual true blessings really through Abraham were bestowed upon his descendants through Isaac and Jacob. So Abram departed as the Lord Yahweh had spoken unto him, and Lot went with him. And Abram was 75 years old when he departed out of Haran. And Abram took Sarai his wife, and Lot his brother's son, his nephew, that is, and all their substance that they had gathered, and the souls that they had gotten in Haran. So not just them, but those that, those that went with them. So it wasn't just three people, right? A man and his nephew and his wife, but you had a entourage of people. And they went forth to go into the land of Canaan, and into the land of Canaan they came. And Abram passed through the land onto a place of Shechem, which is Shechem, onto the plain of Moreh. And the Canaanite was then in the land. So at this point, the Canaanites were dwelling in this land. And the Lord Yahweh appeared unto Abram and said, Unto thy seed will I give this land. And there builded he an altar unto the Lord Yahweh, who appeared unto him. And he removed from thence unto a mountain in the east of Bethel, and pitched his tent, having Bethel on the west, and Hai on the east. And there he builded an altar unto the Lord Yahweh, and called upon the name of the Lord, and i.e. he worshipped the Lord there. And Abram journeyed, going on still toward the south. And there was a famine in the land, and Abram went down into Egypt to sojourn there, for the famine was grievous in the land. So, due to the famine in the land of Canaan, Abraham basically had to journey on south. Let me see. I think there was another image that we saw here that might... Is this better? That's all right. That's okay. Anyway, so in the land of Canaan, so he has to journey into the land of Egypt, because at this time they were good. And it came to pass, when he was come near to enter into Egypt, that he said unto Sarai his wife, Behold now, I know that thou art a fair woman to look upon. So she was a very beautiful woman. Therefore it shall come to pass, when the Egyptians shall see thee, that they shall say, This is his wife, and they will kill me, but they will save thee alive. So knowing that Sarai was Abram's wife, they would kill him and then take her. And that's what he's saying to her. Say, I pray thee, thou art my sister, that they may be well with me, or that it may be well with me for thy sake, and my soul shall live because of thee. So if anybody asks, just pretend to be my sister, because then that way they, if anything, they'll treat me well rather than to kill me for you. And this is because even though they were of another nation, remember, once again, Noah knew the laws, and this was passed down through his descendants of who everybody comes from. So at this time, there was still a known law of, like, general laws of life. And obviously, this is why Abram feared they would kill him to take his wife, because they didn't, like, they knew the law on like adultery, right? They knew that it was wrong to do. And you'll find out even more as we read through this chapter. So he's telling her, pretend to be my sister so that, they don't kill me, right? And then take you. And it came to pass that when Abram was come into Egypt, the Egyptians beheld the woman, that she was very fair. So when they saw Sarai, they were like, wow, she's a baddie, right? She's a real beautiful woman. And so, basically the town started to talk. Right, talk started to go like, yo, you seen that woman that came in here, man? Yo, shit. The princes also of Pharaoh saw her and commended her before Pharaoh. So they spoke to Pharaoh. They said, yo, this woman is beautiful. Oh, Lord, you have not seen beauty like this before. And the woman was taken into Pharaoh's house, and he entreated Abram well for her sake. Now, practically, right? It's not like they're walking in the street and then there's some some half-naked Egyptians run on him with spears in their hands and then just cover her head with like a sack and then just take her to Pharaoh. No. Remember that at this point, the Egyptians they were flourishing. So they were dressed like those who would be in a flourishing civilization, not like what you would imagine today with the actual Hamites. And so this was likely an invite, right? They probably invited Abram, right, and his quote unquote sister to Pharaoh. And that's why it says that he entreated Abram well for her sake, because he thought that was Abram's sister. So he basically took good care of Abram to almost like get his blessing or his like, okay, like, hey, I'll take good care of you. You have a really beautiful sister here, and so on and so forth. And he had sheep and oxen and he asses and men servants and maid servants and she asses and camels. So he really gained a lot of wealth there as well. And we know that because, yeah, I'm sure he had some as he was traveling, those that were with him. But whenever you see that, right, that colon there, if we look up here, what does a colon mean in the Bible? Not that one. Here we go. So in the text, it says to introduce an explanation. The part of the sentence following the colon explains or clarifies what came before it, right? The woman was found to have lied. She said she had no money, but she had millions in the bank. So she said she had no money, but really she had millions in the bank. That is the lie that she was found to have told, right? So when you go back to Genesis 12, there's this comes after the colon that says that he was entreated well, and it explains what is meant by he was entreated well. So he was blessed with sheep and oxen and asses and servants, men and maid servants, and she asses and camels and so on, likely in addition to what he already had. And the Lord Yahweh plagued Pharaoh and his house with great plagues because of Sarai, Abram's wife. Now, it doesn't specify, what the plagues were, but whatever it was, it said it was real bad. Right? It says to reach, to strike, to touch. So whatever it was, he had that work put on him because he was about to take another man's wife. But now Pharaoh did not know, because once again, Abram and Sarai agreed to say that she was his sister. And Pharaoh called Abram and said, "What is this that thou hast done unto me? Why didst thou not tell me that she was thy wife? So why did you hide this from me? Why didn't you tell me she was your wife? Why saidst thou she is my sister? So I might have taken her to me to wife. So why did you let me believe that she was your sister, so much so that I was about to work on that and take her as a wife? Now therefore, behold thy wife, here she is, take her and go thy way." And Pharaoh commanded his men concerning him, and they sent him away, and his wife, and all that he had. They said, "La, you gotta go. You gotta no, you gotta leave. You gotta leave. You gotta leave. We can't have this." So whatever plagues it is that the Lord plagued them with, it must have put some fear in them, some heavy duty fear in him that let him know. And maybe he inquired, right? Maybe of his wise men or whatnot, or maybe the Lord showed him in a dream, whatever the case was. And he probably asked Sarai, like, yo, are you actually his sister? They said, "Look, you getting played because that's another man's wife." Another man's wife? What? So he goes and he asks her, and she tells him, yeah, you know what? She eventually confesses. He's like, "Look, y'all gotta go." But once again, this isn't something that's like happening over a span of 24 hours. So likely at this point, things are maybe a bit better in the land of Canaan, right? As there was a famine in there before. And, somewhat strategically, when you look at how these events played out, Abraham ends up leaving with more than he came there with by this lie that he told, right? As opposed to them actually taking his life. to take Sarai. And that brings us to the end of the book of Genesis, the 12th chapter. Lord willing, that was edifying to the elect. In closing, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Recha Kodash. And until next time, Shalom.